I just had a question about, I think it was the third point, how we're supposed to approach war and terrorism from a theological point of view. Would that include morals, and could you clarify what you mean by that?
Sure. A couple of you commented in your papers or in your reflections on just war tradition, just war theory, which is in the Catholic tradition, and we won't go into all that here, but there are criteria that the use of force has to meet in order to be justified, and it's things like it must be a war of last resort. Everything else must have been tried first. Things like proportionality, that the force you use can't, or the damage you cause can exceed the force that you use. Of course, a lot about the protection of non-combatants, those who are innocent, who are not soldiers. So all these criteria, a just cause, the purpose and cause of this must be a just cause. So all these criteria can be applied to any prospective use of force. And the Catholic bishops applied that, those criteria, to the war in Iraq, as did the Pope, and decided that Iraq was not, could not be a just war. So this was a problem for the Bush administration because even the Pope, now it didn't get covered in our papers, what the bishops say about abortion is always the main story. But the bishops also have spoken out against the war in Iraq, against the death penalty, against capital punishment, and that doesn't get much attention in the Washington Post. So I'm saying that you've got to, if you're a person of faith, there's only two sort of, well, there's three historic Christian positions on war from the Christian side. One is pacifism and the nonviolence of Jesus. The first 3 centuries of the church, nobody fought. For 3 centuries, Christians wouldn't fight in the wars of Rome. They wouldn't join the army, they wouldn't fight. And almost across the board. And so it was something Christians just didn't do. Jesus said, love your enemy, and we're going to do that too. Then Constantine comes in, and then that's the beginning of a new kind of engagement, and then the just war theory. We don't have time to go through it all, but Augustine and the rest, this was how to evaluate whether a war is just or not. The third, of course, is the crusade notion in the churches, which hopefully we don't subscribe to anymore. But sometimes you wonder in the war on terrorism whether we're in a new crusade now. In fact, that word was even used at the beginning of the Bush administration and then taken back very quickly from the White House when they realized they were invoking the image of the Crusades all over again. So it's got to be one of those three, and the first two are the only ones in play right now for theologians and church people. So on Iraq, the U.S. really, the government hoped that the Catholic bishops would decide the war was just, and they decided it was not. That's what I mean.